request about more foot stuff and how to work on mobility of feet and different issues with the feet. So one of the things you might notice is I have my toe socks on. Toe socks, these socks have individual toes in them, and there's tons of different brands. Toe Socks is the specific brand that I have on right now. Now the benefit of these socks is not only can you use the individual digits when you're doing your Pilates or yoga workouts, but as you put the socks on, you have to play with your toes. So like you're feeding the sock on to each individual toe. Our feet really don't even get that much attention throughout the day, but our feet are so important for balance. We need mobility and flexibility as well as strength in our feet because it hugely affects our overall stability. We spend our time standing on them and they get rigid and stiff, and the more rigid and stiff they get, the less balance we have, or we can't adjust. If you were to walk on a rocky beach, you would find that super challenging because your feet can't grip, your toes can't grip the way you want them. So a few tools I have here is a small ball. I've slowly kind of collected these over the years, but what I always say to someone when they want their own is just go to the little dollar machines that you see randomly in the front of the store and just pop in $1 and here you go, you got a rubber ball and then a pencil. So commonly issues that people have are the fact that their toes are not straight and their toes are stiff. And our toes are very much like our fingers. So we've got the balls of our toes, and that is an area where you want to work. So a pencil, just rolling it underneath the balls of the toes, will just kind of massage it. And this pencil is not as round as it could be, so it's kind of catching a bit. But I can even just put some weight into the pencil, and that's just going to work in around the parts of my toe, and I can just adjust through there and even get a little bit of toe flexion. I personally like the ball the best because I can work on each individual digit. So right now I've taken the ball, and if you think of the ball of your big toe, I've taken the ball and just put it right underneath. And then I'm just gonna roll the ball right there. It will be uncomfortable. It's gonna be quite tender actually. And you can just do little circles or even go side to side. I'm keeping my heel down on the floor, or I can roll forward and back along either side of the bone. I'm not running right underneath, I'm running right on the in-between where the two bones are, because there's a lot of flesh muscles in between each digit. So after I've done that, I'm going to move a digit over. And again, I can roll right underneath the balls of the toes. I can run the length of my foot in between. And I would spend about 2 minutes kind of just working where it needs to, and I just kind of go back and forth and side to side. Now for me, my baby toe comes in quite a bit, so once I get to the last 2 digits, it gets quite tender. So I have to put a little bit of less pressure. So more of my weight is in my second foot just to unload it, but I spend more time over here and just trying to relax it. So commonly the under part of our foot is quite tight, and as it's tight, it curls your toes into that position. Tons of other things can do it as well. If you've got shoes that are a bit too tight, your toes adjust by crunching into the front of your toes. And the other thing you want to think about is spreading your toes. So while I'm doing this, I'm trying to open them up and just kind of bring them back to that width, because my foot tries to avoid that width and curl in. And then actually when I take my foot off and compare the feeling in my foot feels a lot more flatter to the floor. The other thing that you can do, because there's muscle in between each toe, I can work on the top of my foot. So I can roll the top of my foot and just massage through there. And then again, I can kind of choose to work on the areas that are a little bit more tender. So for me, it's just the right between those two toes. It tends to be a little bit more tender. And I can work on the side of the foot, into the arch of the foot, and just anything that I feel like needs a bit of attention. And then the last thing I can do, if you have the flexibility, if you can't sit on the floor, you could always sit on a box, but then just twisting the toes. So I'm individually just twisting the toes, just trying to get them to move, to stretch out. So you can wiggle the toes. So you can actually like just twist the toes, and it's just naturally stretching them out, getting them moving. So just like our fingers, we have little joints in between the bones. They're just a lot smaller in our toes compared to our fingers. So if your hands are a little bit of a roadmap to your feet, and those are the digits that I'm just individually twisting, I'm just doing it on my toes. So think about grabbing the tip and then the center, and I just work my way across. And then one last thing I like to do, again, this is going to be a little bit of flexibility, but I've put all my toes on the floor, and then I'm just bringing my knee down and stretching it out. You'll notice my baby toe doesn't like to stay there. And some of us might not be able to put our weight down on our heel. We might need to be a little bit higher to keep the weight. So the lower I sit down, the more weight goes into my foot. And then sometimes I just need to readjust that baby toe to help it get that stretch. And you just hold it 15 to 30 seconds. It can be quite intense. And that's all. Thanks, guys.